This student made a monumental effort to create an interscholastic musical production. Let's open the curtain on this project.
Let's look at the statistics. Students who undergo education that consider the arts as a core curriculum factor are twice as likely to graduate college. Average almost 100 points more in standardized testing. And have a dropout rate 5 times lower than those who don't. Yet, only 9% of the schools in the US offer visual arts programs as core classes. Think about that. Before I begin, I'd like to ask you all a question. What is your favorite form of entertainment? Is it through music? Is it a TV show? A play? A musical? A movie? And now I want you to think of who you would be without that form of entertainment today. Who would we be as a society, as people? Would we be the same without Friends, The Simpsons, The Big Bang Theory, Game of Thrones, Netflix, Disney? Would we really be the same? That's the life that we've been living here at ANS, without the arts, for the past decade. Of course, we've seen a recent boost in the arts over the past years. The artistic department has flourished. But it's no one's fault because the school does follow a STEM system, which makes the base of our curriculum science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But what many schools in the world are doing and are proving to be very effective in a student's education is they're transitioning to a STEAM system, which is now inclusive to the arts, which is what we should be doing. Because the arts becomes a big factor in a student's life. Let me tell you a story about this little girl with hyperactive issues. This is back in the 1900s. Every time she would get in trouble in school, her parents were called up, and they were told that she had hyperactive issues. So they took her to as many specialists, as many doctors as they could. And all of them would hit a wall. Find a lump in the road. They couldn't do anything about it. They were perplexed. Take into consideration, ADHD wasn't even on the radar back then. And so they decided to take her to this one specialist that, after listening to the parents' story, decides to take them outside, but before they leave the room, he turns on the radio. After conversing with her parents outside for a minute, he tells them to look in through the window. To their surprise, the little girl was dancing and twirling around to the beats of the music. They asked her what this meant, and the doctor famously explained, "There is nothing wrong with your child. She is a dancer." He suggested that she be enrolled in the best dancing academy in the country, and she did. And she's now known as Gillian Lyne, the multi-millionaire choreographer of the both famous Tony Award-winning shows Cats and Phantom of the Opera. So through including arts in a diagnosis, she changed this little girl's life, which is what we should be doing, igniting that flame in students. Because many students here don't even know that this is an opportunity for them, because we don't grant that opportunity. And so we have many researches in the world done by the Washington Christian Academy, the Act 2 players, and many others that tell you that if you enroll your kid in a short-term art-based community during their educational life, they are going to see an increase in self-confidence. They're going to have better presentational skills. They're going to have better communicational skills. They're going to be more cooperative. They'll do better in standardized testing. They'll have a much bigger appreciation for the arts. They'll have a bigger empathy. So many things, and there are so many studies that prove this to be right, that prove that arts are essential to a student's life. And I'm talking about many, like a lot of them. A lot. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Edoardo Amador. I'm here, a senior at ANS, and my senior capstone is an interscholastic musical production that would bring schools around Nicaragua together to form a community of the arts and hopefully foster that artistic education that many schools in Nicaragua, not only ANS, are lacking. Because it does tend to be important. Like any other capstone project, I'll be tackling many of the core values, but the most essential ones here would be intellectual curiosity and innovation and creativity, because we will be challenging our students to become more curious into how this can really affect their lives, and they'll see a change and they'll become more creative because of this experience that they're being because of this experience that they're going through. Sorry. So my senior capstone is divided into 5 phases. Phase number 1 is the preparation phase, which was auditions, choreographing, blocking, and all of the basic show needs that kind of have to come before anything even happens. Getting the script, getting all the musical tracks, getting all the vocals, all of that was done before December of 2019 even hit. My second phase are the direct show needs, which are all the technical theater production, all the venue change or the venue acquirements, which was done around the first months of 2020. The phase 3 was tackling the rehearsals, and acquiring those tech needs. So acquiring all the props, all the costumes, all the lighting and sound people, all of that comes in phase 3. Phase 4 was marketing and publicity, which we did mostly virtually to kind of tackle environmental stewardship. And of course, phase 5 would be the performance, showtime, where we got our kids to kind of show off their talents and show what all this hard work really meant to them. And so, like any capstone project, I had a team backing me up, and most importantly, I had my mentors. My first mentor I'll be introducing is Ms. Julie Swinehart. She was my assigned mentor by the senior capstone class, and she's the head of the ANS English department, as well as an ANS Drama Club parent, which served as a primary source as to what was happening in the club and how her kid was affected by the club throughout her high school years. My second mentor was Miss Heather Elswick, which is my foreign mentor. She is a music and singing teacher and a performance vocal coach at the Performance Project, which is an academy that I base at. And she's a Thespians district coach. She kind of helped on the creative side and has a lot of expertise when it comes to actually producing a show. So she was a lot of help, mostly on the creative/artistic side. My third mentor was my unofficial mentor, Ms. Jackie Kruger. She mostly helped getting all of the schools on board, and she is a huge In the Heights enthusiast, which is the show that we were producing. To tackle this, I had to do some research on how this has helped Nicaragua before, and I decided to do this by tackling our former production of Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, our musical production in 2019, done by this school. I wanted to see the audience, the percentage of the audience that came to the show. And to my surprise, about 20% of the audience was outside of ANS. That's not counting the public show, which we couldn't really take in the demographics. These were students that came in here for educational purposes and later used the show as part of their curriculum. So they took the STEAM process of our show and put it into their own school, which we later invited their students to come and participate. So on second semester, here I have all of my evidence that will show you what has happened. We started with the auditions, which at first weren't too clear, weren't specified to students, so we didn't have such a big outcome. But later on, once we became more virtual, more firsthand with students, we had a good turnout, and we had a good group of 15 people. On our first meeting, we had an informational meeting, how rehearsals would happen, and played an improv game to kind of form a community. And we did most of our marketing electronically. Like I said, we created an Instagram page. We even created a filter that you are free to use. You can follow us at any time, where we weekly dispense like a dispatch from our homes because of the whole coronavirus situation. And so with it comes challenges, of course. Like any other senior capstone project, many challenges were unforeseen. The first one was my location. Once we had once we had agreed upon a venue, the venue people all of a sudden decided to increase the price up to $800, which is just something that with such a low budget we couldn't afford. So finding another venue would be an issue. And with the whole COVID situation, finding a place where we can actually bring in people without actually putting at risk the health of those people was also a big challenge. The commitment of the people was also a big challenge, not because they weren't committed to the project, but because the project itself was so big that it required so much commitment that it would bleed into other people's extracurriculars, which is another thing, the scheduling. These people were in here from Tuesday to Thursday, 2:45 to 5:45, 3 hours straight rehearsal of almost no breaks, which is a big thing. And at first we were behind schedule, but we were able to catch up with some already scheduled catch-up days. And last but not least, the audience, of course. Getting the outside and getting the in-school audience, because we were going to perform for students and people from the public, and sell it sort of like a STEAM project where we could make a curriculum based, which is where Miss Julie Swinehart helped me the most, to create a curriculum sort of based on the project that people could use and actually educate through the musical itself. And of course, with the whole situation, we can't actually have an audience come in without imposing a health risk. So we had to kind of cancel that part, and now we're moving on towards a more virtual sort of escape to this. And last but not least, the legacy that this would leave was the inspiration, because not long ago in 6th grade, I remember I came into the school in K4, yeah, and like any other person, I jumped from dream job to dream job all throughout Ks to 5th grade, and in 6th grade, I joined the drama club in our school, which was at the time flourishing at its peak. And that kind of inspired me to follow what I wanted to be in life, and now has gotten me into my dream school. And I know that this project has inspired, like it did to me. I hope it did, because now I have people who are committed to the arts 100%, who I know will do an awesome job. And sort of the legacy that we want to leave behind is other clubs being formed at other schools that are going to tackle this issue in their own schools, and sort of we formed this community of different people from different schools. Because even though that the show has been postponed, and even though we're kind of on a halt on society, we are still a tight-knit family. We are still very close together. We are still in touch, and we will still take care of each other. As a byproduct, I'm organizing a virtual theater festival where we can also join with other people from other schools. It's going really well, but it just comes to testify on itself that the arts do change people for the better, because it forms this community of love through the arts. And to those people who are waiting for In the Heights to happen, or hoping that things can come back to normal, I tell them, do not worry, that we will make the show happen however we can, because this is, after all, only intermission. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day. I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. Pop the grade at the crack of dawn, sing while I wipe down the awning. Hey y'all, good morning. I am snotty and you probably never heard my name. Reports of my fame are greatly exaggerated, exacerbated by the fact that my syntax is highly complicated. Cause I immigrated from the single greatest little place in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic. I love it, Jesus, I'm jealous of it. And beyond that, ever since my folks passed on, I haven't gotten mad expensive, but we live with just enough.
In the heights, I flip the lights and start my day. There are fights and endless debts and bills to pay. In the heights, I can survive without cafe. But tonight is so far away.
But as for mañana, mi pana, you gotta just keep watching. You'll see the late nights, you'll taste beans and rice. The super shade lights, I ain't gonna say it twice. Turn on the stage lights, we're taking a flight to come the days in the light for what it's like
In Washington Heights.
In order to make this project a resounding success, spread the word, engage with it, and for future productions, make sure to participate in it.